most gun violence that occurs in Virginia does not happen in places like Parkland. It happens in communities that have the least resources to adequately deal with it. We can't just talk only about how somebody gets a gun, although that's very important. We also need to address why does somebody pick up a gun in the first place. We have to address the systemic poverty that drives gun violence, the systemic racism that drives gun violence, a incarceration system that is not built on restoring people, but simply punishing them after they've done wrong in the first place. We have to address the systemic issues that drive gun violence. And many of these bills, whether it's the preventative measures like the violence intervention programs that don't even have to do with gun laws in the first place, but do address preventing somebody from committing an act of gun violence, are incredibly effective. The challenge with when we just look at this as simply a policing issue is that by the time the police are on a campus responding to a gunman, it's too late. Somebody is going to die. We had a cop in our school in Parkland, and he was not a good guy with a gun. He was a coward with a gun. The same thing happened in Uvalde. And it's going to keep happening until we address how these people, these mass shooters and individuals that commit individual acts of gun violence, are able to obtain these firearms and address why they decide to pick it up in the first place. Too often, I hear that gun violence, mass shooters, typically when they're young white men, are addressed as just simply mentally ill individuals that need help. The shooter at my high school was mentally ill, but he also was well known to be an anti-Semite and racist and xenophobic. Hatred is not a mental illness. The shooting that happened in El Paso, Texas, where a white supremacist gunman in 2019 gunned down people simply because of the color of their skin or their nationality, because he feared a quote-unquote Hispanic or Mexican invasion from coming to the United States, is a direct product of the hateful rhetoric that so many of our politicians use, and it has to end. These bills are one step in the right direction, but they're just that. They are one step, the first of many to come, because we're going to have to deal with this issue for a long time, unfortunately, but we cannot stop until no child, no matter what community they're in, has to fear gun violence.